Hello, my dear friends. After so many ups and downs, LYTUNA and Henry have finally found their place in Alex's family. Mrs Minh, who once strongly opposed their relationship, can now smile with peace in her heart, seeing her son happy beside the woman he truly loves. A new home is slowly taking shape, and it feels like happiness has finally arrived. But in the shadows, the storm hasn't passed just yet. Mrs. Land's daughter refuses to accept the growing bond between Alex and LYTUNA. Deep inside, the fire of jealousy is still burning. What kind of cruel schemes will she come up with to destroy this fragile happiness? Will Alex and LYTUNA's love be strong enough to withstand the challenges ahead? Or will the storm sweep everything away once again? Stay with me as we dive into today's episode, filled with unexpected twists, heart-stopping emotions, and edge-of-your-seat drama. In the small kitchen, warmth rose from the freshly cooked rice, the rich aroma of braised fish, and a simple plate of boiled vegetables. But tonight's dinner was different. It wasn't just because LYTUNA and her son were there. It was because for the first time after months of resistance, Mrs. Minh herself had prepared a true family meal. Alex sat beside LYTUNA, his hand gently holding hers under the table, a silent vow. I chose you, and I'll never let go. Henry, his bright eyes sparkling, giggled as he clumsily tried to feed Alex little bites of vegetables. The table burst into laughter at his innocent sweetness. Mrs. Minh watched quietly, a flicker of surprise in her eyes that soon melted into an unfamiliar softness. Slowly, she picked up a piece of meat, placed it in Henry's bowl, and said in a hushed voice, "Eat well, my dear. From now on, I hope Alex will take good care of both of you." Her words felt like a bridge, melting away the ice that had long covered her heart. LYTUNA's eyes welled up her lips, trembling, unable to speak. Only her gaze revealed endless gratitude. Alex squeezed her hand tighter, bowed his head slightly, and said in a steady, warm voice, "I promise, with everything I have, I'll protect them." In that moment, the house overflowed with warmth, as if old wounds had finally found their cure. But outside, a storm was quietly gathering. In a lavish mansion, draped with crimson velvet curtains, the air grew heavy with tension. Mrs. Lan Mai's mother spoke coldly, her words cutting like ice. Impossible. A woman with a child of her own sitting at the Minh family's table, as if she belongs there. I will never allow it. Mai sat beside her, pale but burning with fury. Her trembling hands clutched her dress, her voice broken yet heavy with determination. "Mother, I waited for Alex all these years. I sacrificed everything. And now he chooses her. He lets Henry, some stranger's child, take the love that should have been mine." For just a second, sorrow flickered in Mrs. Lan's eyes. But it quickly vanished, replaced by cold calculation. She laid a firm hand on her daughter's shoulder, her tone sharp and deliberate. "Mai, if you truly want Alex, you must take him back. That woman's greatest weakness is her son. If you plant doubt about the boy's bloodline in everyone's mind, Alex's love for her will collapse. When that happens, all you need to do is open your arms, and Alex will return to you." Mai lifted her head, eyes red, but shining with something dark. A twisted smile crept across her lips, part pain, part malice. "I understand, Mother. I swear I won't let LYTUNA have another day of peace." Outside the window, the night pressed down heavy. The streetlight cast the two women's shadows together, long distorted, as if their souls had already struck a bargain with the darkness. In the little house, Henry's laughter echoed warm and bright, and for the first time, Mrs. Minh felt relief in her chest. But elsewhere, a plot had already been planted. Soon, two worlds, one full of love, the other consumed by rage and hate, would collide, unleashing a storm like nothing before. In the days after that meal, Alex's small home was fuller of laughter than ever. Every morning, Henry would run out to the garden, his tiny feet trampling the dew-covered grass, as he chirped Dad, melting Alex's heart. LYTUNA took care of everything each meal, every tiny shirt, Henry's books. And Mrs. Minh, once frowning and so strongly opposed, now watched quietly and smiled to herself as she saw her son happy in a way she'd never imagined. In the kitchen, the chopping board clicked water, hummed on the stove, and all of it blended with the little everyday conversations. Alex would come home from work and hear Henry's loud giggle before he even reached the gate, and see LYTUNA tilt her head to greet him with a soft smile. Mrs. Minh sat on the porch sipping tea and nodding slightly as if she'd finally found peace after so many heavy years. That peaceful life lasted brief, but full of joy. Alex believed he'd done the right thing. LYTUNA felt like fate had finally smiled on her, and Henry, innocent and pure, only knew he finally had a real family. It seemed everything would close with a happy ending. But sometimes calm is just the silence before the storm. Mrs. Lan and Mai hadn't given up. Day by day, hour by hour, they watched Alex's life. To my every laugh from LYTUNA, every warm hug Alex gave Henry felt like a blade twisting in her heart. She watched in silence, waited in silence, until her eyes lost any gentle light and filled only with a thick darkness of hatred. One evening, when the moon hid behind dark clouds, Mai returned to the mansion and stood before her mother. Her voice was rough but firm. "I can't take it anymore. If Alex has chosen her, I'll make him pay for that choice. I don't want pity, I want him. And if I can't have him through love, I'll get him by other means." Mrs. Lan looked at her daughter and let a cold smile pull at the corner of her mouth. She nodded slightly. "Okay. Remember, if you want someone else's love and happiness, you take it back with blood and tears. And LYTUNA will never be left in peace." Outside rain began to fall, pattering on the roof like a warning of the coming storm. Inside the little house, Alex and LYTUNA still gathered around the table, Henry clutching his parents and laughing freely. But they didn't know that beyond the gate, darkness was creeping in, and a cruel scheme was ready to sweep everything away. The peaceful days in the little house went on, but ever since that dinner, darkness had started to creep in. Mai didn't rush to strike. She knew well the fastest way to break Alex and LYTUNA's happiness wasn't through noise, but through planting seeds of doubt. And once those seeds take root in someone's heart, they grow on their own, spreading into a shadow so thick it blocks out the light. One morning, while LYTUNA and Henry were at the market, Mrs. Minh received a strange phone call. The woman's voice on the other end was shaky, half hesitant, half desperate. "Mrs. Minh, I don't know if I should say this, but Henry, I don't think he's the son of the man LYTUNA claims. I once heard a different story. If you'd like, I can meet you and explain." Mrs. Minh froze her hand, trembling as she slammed the phone onto the table. Since accepting LYTUNA, She had forced herself to bury every doubt. But those words, like a needle, stabbed right into the fear she'd never truly let go of. Her eyes sank, and her heart suddenly grew heavy. At the same time, in a quiet cafe, Mai stared at her phone screen with a bitter smile curling across her lips. She had just hung up from the fake call, and the first step of her plan was complete. That evening, after a long day, Alex drove Tuna and Henry back to the farm. The red dirt road stretched between the lush green rice fields, the evening breeze whispering through the air, mixing with the scent of fresh grass and damp earth. Henry sat on his mother's lap, chattering excitedly and pointing at a flock of birds flying low over the rice paddies, his innocent laugh ringing through the air like the sound of little bells. When they arrived at the yard, Alex gently set Henry down, letting the boy run freely around the garden. Tuna stood by the porch, looking at the old wooden house, her eyes filled with quiet contemplation. Though the place was full of memories, she couldn't shake the fear that one day, unforeseen troubles might leave Henry without a stable home. Alex came up behind her and wrapped his arms around her. The warmth from him spread through her, and without thinking, Tuna rested her head on his shoulder, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. Alex gazed at the sunset that bathed the horizon in a deep red, his voice calm but firm as he spoke. "Tuna, I know this house is simple, not enough to protect you and Henry, but I promise I will build a new home, a strong, solid place where you can watch Henry grow day by day. I want that home to be more than just a shelter. I want it to be our real home, our family's home." Tuna froze, her heart trembling at his words. Her eyes sparkled with tears, and she turned to look at him, her voice thick with emotion. "Do you really want to do everything for me and Henry?" Alex nodded, his gaze unwavering, as if there had never been a doubt in his heart. He took her hand and kissed it gently, each word ringing with certainty. "Yes, you and Henry are my family, and I will never let anyone or anything take this happiness from us." From a distance, Henry came running, his small arms wrapping tightly around Alex's legs as he looked up with a beaming smile. The sunset bathed the three of them in its golden light, creating a peaceful, perfect moment. In that instant, Tuna believed that with Alex by her side, they could overcome any storm. But outside, darkness was still lurking. The new home wasn't even built yet, and already an unseen storm was quietly gathering, ready to sweep it all away.
Dịu dàng chiếu rọi qua những tán lá tre phủ lên căn nhà nhỏ một lớp ánh sáng ấm áp như một vòng tay ôm lấy, tạo nên không gian tĩnh lặng và yên bình. Đến cả bước tới bờ suối, bên từng làn chuông an yên, hôm nay lại mang theo trong lòng nỗi buồn nặng trĩu xoay quanh trong đầu cô. Có lẽ mình nên về quê cùng anh đệ vượt lên sự khó khăn của mình. Xuống một hòn đá ở suối mắt năm nhìn ra xa, một con nước lững lờ trôi để tìm kiếm câu trả lời từ thiên nhiên, từ chính con tim mình bên trong. sống và